Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. And seems like there's a lot of rumors and challenges going on in the boxing world. So let me highlight a few that have been mentioned very recently. Let's start off with Ryan Garcia. Courtesy of our friends over at BoxingNews24.com. Sean Jones says Ryan Garcia has revealed his 3-fighter shortlist for his next fight this summer. And a couple of names are decent. Okay. So he's going to have to choose between, I'll make this short, Rolly Romero, Isaac Cruz, or Teofimo Lopez. The fact that Ryan listed Rolly is 15-1, 13 knockouts first suggests to some boxing fan that he's the one that's the primary among his targets. Rolly is the guy Golden Boy promoter Oscar De La Hoya recently said he wants to fight Ryan next. Let's move along quickly to another story because we've got a long slew of headlines today. Dan Ambrose over at BoxingNews24.com also says Keith Thurman says he'll be returning to action in August against one of 4 potential opponents that his management team is looking at him fighting. And the former WBA and WBC welterweight champ Thurman will be coming from an 18-month layoff when he fights in August. And he says he's been enjoying his family life since his last fight against Mario Barraus in February of 2022. The 34-year-old Thurman says he wants to fight the winner or loser of the July 29th welterweight undisputed championship between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. That would require Thurman to win his August comeback fight. And we'll see if Thurman gets his wish and faces Spence or Crawford if, in fact, he wins. So who might he be able to fight? Let's take a look at this list. Names include Jaron Ennis, Rashidi Ellis, Roman Villa, Virgil Ortiz, Alexis Roca, Imantas Stanionis, Regis Progress, and Yordenis Ugas. Good luck to Mr. Thurman getting through that bunch, if not just one of them to get to the winner or loser of the Errol Spence and Terence Crawford fight. Moving along to big fights, I see that the undisputed super middleweight contender Erik Bazinyan, who was mentioned by Mike Gore on Knuckle Up the other day, he's 29-0, 21 knockouts. He's returning in a 10-round main event clash against Mexico's Jose de Jesus Macias, 28-11-4, by the way, 14 knockouts. That's coming up June 1st at the Casino de Montreal in Montreal, Canada. Bazinyan, Matthias, and undercard bouts will stream live and exclusively in the U.S. on ESPN Plus in the co-feature. Steve Claggart, 34, 7-2, 24 knockouts, will face former world champion Alberto Machado, 23-3, 19 knockouts, in a 10-round junior welterweight battle. So some good fighting action happening over in Quebec in the upcoming 24 hours. Speaking something that's not going to happen within 24 hours, Tyson Fury has thrown a spanner or a wrench into the works of a plan that would see 2 of his major rivals, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, fight in Saudi Arabia this December. Wilder and Joshua had a blueprint to share the ring on the same night as Fury and Alexander Usyk, or a standalone pay-per-view. We've mentioned this before. It's not a new story. However, Fury, linked to facing many opponents after consistent social media call-outs and reports, has deteriorated on those intentions. Despite showing no interest in Joshua for months, the Gypsy King formally offered Joshua a battle in August or September. This new curveball has meant Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has to at least address it to appease the British public. Fury's promoter, Frank Warren, offered confirmation of the paperwork through his son, George. Quote, long story short, I spoke to Tyson on Monday, obviously on the back of knowing by then, but the Usyk bout wouldn't be happening, and we were preparing for a bid, Warren told BT Sport. Questions were put to us, what are the biggest fights possible that we can make? And AJ's name came up in that conversation. It's a huge fight. The instructions were quite clear, so following morning, put an email over to Eddie and made an offer. So, speaking on IFL TV, Hearn has since been forced to take stock of his original two-fight deal with AJ for 2023. Hearn is already deep into talks over Joshua facing Dillian White before Wilder later in the year. They're a Fury's team that is telling us they want to fight you, Joshua, and we're fighting in August and September. That's our plan. I'll go through the process and see how this really works out, Hearn said. Hearn said. Right now, our plan remains the same. That plan is August facing White and Wilder in December. So we'll see what happens in Saudi Arabia this week. That's our plan. That's what we're moving forward with this week. If we can make that fight happen, 100%, we'll look at that Fury fight. And he continued by stating that discarding those original plans is not ideal. He said, we will give up those fights and that massive payday against Wilder in the hope of making the Fury fight. Probably not, but I'll go through the motions and see where we go with it. Of course, we're interested in that fight, but we just don't know what to think. Our confidence is basing our plans around Tyson Fury is very thin. Hearn seems unsure if Fury's crying wolf over the fight, having disagreed on terms with Joshua several times. However, Joshua facing Fury or Wilder in 2023 remains in the air. The former champion seriously needs a year without a loss. Fighting either of those would almost certainly make that risk a distinct possibility. In 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, Joshua had only one full year where he didn't suffer a loss. He needs another to keep his star shining in the division for the big fights in 2024. Furthermore, a defeat in 2023 could end his career. And that's Phil J. writing out of WBN, World Boxing News. Alrighty, let's move along to some other headlines I didn't have time to cover right today. Callum Smith believes he has the power to knock out unified light heavyweight champion Artur Beterbiev. And Katie Taylor has laughed off talk of retirement after her first professional defeat this month and is targeting a November rematch against Chantel Cameron. Let's go back to our boy Eddie Hearn. If Devin Haney is to realign with Matchroom Boxing and DAZN, he apparently wants to move up for a dangerous fight right away. Promoter Eddie Hearn revealed Tuesday during an appearance on the DAZN boxing show that Haney has informed him that he wants to challenge Regis Progress next. The undisputed lightweight champion, fresh off a ceaselessly undebated decision win over Lomachenko back on May 20th, is a promotional free agent because his 3-fight contract with Bob Arum's Top Rank and Lou DiBella Entertainment has expired after the Lomachenko clash. Hearn's Matchroom Boxing recently signed Progress to a 3-fight promotional agreement. If the heavily favored Progress, 28-1 by the way, beats Puerto Rico's Danielito Zorrilla, 17-1, on June 17th at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Hearn intends to begin negotiations for a Haney Progress fight for Progress WBC Super Lightweight title. A bit of news on Devin Haney, courtesy of Eddie Hearn. Now, let's move along to Errol Spence. Fighter's first management chief executive officer, Adrian Clark, announced today it has signed a management agreement with unified WBC, WBA, IBF World Welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. Spence and Clark, both Texas natives, have a personal friendship that dates to 2012 while Spence was preparing for the Olympic Games. Prior to Fighter's first management, Clark independently negotiated deals for the hard-hitting southpaw with equipment and apparel giant Everlast worldwide. It's an honor to have Errol join Fighter's first family, said Clark. If you know Errol, you know how meticulous he is and how calculated he is in business. In 11 years, he has only aligned himself with 2 companies, PBC and Everlast. For Fighter's first to be the 3rd company to represent Errol Spence Jr. says a lot about who we are as a company, noted Clark. All right, boxing fans, thank you very much for joining me for yet another episode of Boxing News Today here on Talk and Fight. Appreciate it very much. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And we'll see you later on at 4 p.m. Eastern Time when I join Mike Orr and Cedric Ben for their show, Knuckle Up.